I've just realised what TIFF actually stands for. Toronto is f***ing fantastic.
Today on Rainbow Country, my coverage of the 50th edition of the Toronto International Film Festival begins with the new Canadian Indigenous feature, Nika and Madison. And here to talk all about the film is the award-winning filmmaker, writer, producer, and the director of Nika and Madison, Eva Thomas.
Hi, I'm Christopher Rice, and this is Rainbow Country with Mark Tara.
So, what is up for this weekend?
Just heading back to the res.
Oh, cool.
Sometimes I forget you're even native.
Heard Madison was coming home this weekend.
Oh, yeah?
You guys are good though, right?
We're fine. She's family.
Hey, Goose. A bunch of us are going to the Duffy. You want to come?
No.
Cheers!
Cheers!
Well, well, well. Madison Sands, you're still a slut.
Am I under arrest?
No, I am driving you home. Let's go. You're beautiful. You know that?
Until we understand what we're up against, I want to be the one controlling the narrative.
What do you think's gonna happen?
I have no idea.
PC Boyd sustained a severe head injury.
You didn't deserve this.
I'm very sorry for what happened to you. To both of you. It was self-defense. Who's gonna believe that?
Nika! Where are you going?
The bush.
Well, then I'm coming with you.
Check it out, I got your favorite. A sushi.
What's the rodent situation?
Chief, we are just here to do an investigation.
We have a cop in the hospital, and we need cooperation or things are gonna get ugly.
Things are already ugly.
Police, open up!
We used to be best friends, remember?
I'm looking at attempted murder.
Attempted murder.
They put a cop into a coma. What do you think's happening here? We gotta find those girls and bring them in as soon as possible.
No matter what happens, you are my sister. I love you. I love you.
Eva Thomas, hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Hello, how are you?
I am well. I am better now that I am talking to you, especially about your latest film, a Canadian feature called Nika and Madison. Nika and Madison. Let's start from the ground and build up. Talk to me essentially about the story that you're telling in this Canadian feature, Nika and Madison.
Yes, Nika and Madison is about two Indigenous women who flee after a incident with the police. First, they go back to hide on their res, but once they're tracked down, then they go deeper in the bush. And once they're tracked down, they head into the city. But we follow these two girls as they're on the run from the police, much like an Indigenous Thelma and Louise or an Indigenous Queen and Slim.
Well said. Okay. Technology. You use technology essentially within the first 30 minutes in a very effective way that is pivotal to the story that you're telling. The way that you use technology within the first, 30 minutes of this movie, was that always the intent? Was that always the plan?
I gotta think back. No, I don't. Not my original plan. When I think I did a draft on my own. I don't think that was part of the original plan. It became part of the rewriting process once I started working with Michael McGowan, who's brilliant and talented, very experienced screenwriter. And I think that's when that emerged, that the technology part of it.
Mm. Okay, so let's move from technology to sport. Quote, I'm the badass with the hockey stick. I'm the badass with the hockey stick, unquote. So this is a Canadian film. It's a Canadian feature. It's Canada is very much tied to hockey and the spirit of hockey and the images of hockey. A hockey stick is used in this movie in a very interesting way. Again, within, like, say, the first 30 minutes. We just spoke about technology and how you use technology. Sport, how you use sport, in this case, a hockey stick, was that always the intent, the way that it is used in this film?
Again, again, I'm thinking back, not in my original, like, early first drafts that I did on my own. I don't think the technical aspect of it or that hockey stick was in the initial spark of the idea that was living in me. But through conversations with Michael and as we teased out the script and developed the structure for the story, those things emerged and they proved to be very important.
So those two things, the use of technology and the use of sport, essentially, how does it sit with you? Like, are you happy with the way that it turned out and the way that it's used compared to your original ideas?
Yeah, I think I'm really happy with the film. I'm really happy with the story and the story steps to get through the journey. I'm really happy with the way that it turned out. It is different than I initially thought, but I think that's sort of the magic of working in collaboration with someone else is together you find it, and sometimes better than what I could have done on my own. There's something very magical in the energy of collaboration.
Mm. Okay, so Nika and Madison, it's a film about friendship, about survival, and at times comedy, especially through the character Trevor, who brings some comedic relief at times. You co-wrote this film, and when you're telling a story that's a dramatic story, that's a thriller, but also has comedic elements in it, talk to me about weaving that tapestry of bringing in comedic elements, dramatic elements, suspenseful elements. Talk to me about how you wove those things all together in this really entertaining film.
Oh, it's a great question. A couple things. When I'm not when I'm not pursuing my career as a film director, I also write and direct for TV. And it turns out, and at least so far, that most of the work that I've done in TV is comedy. So I've written for Shelved, which is a half-hour comedy, Zarka, which is a comedy web series, Don't Even, which is a half-hour comedy, and Acting Good. So most of my television work has been in comedy, but most of my most of my film work has been more dramatic pieces. But I'm finding that I'm doing a little bit of both in both worlds, that my comedy has a bit of drama to it and my drama has a bit of comedy to it. And I think that's reflective of, I think, a lot of Indigenous storytellers. It's a lot reflective of life. Also, Michael is quite funny. I like to think that I'm funny. So I think that that's a natural result of what comes through us. And what's really great about Trevor, who's played by Dylan Cook in the film, is he's naturally just really funny. I had worked with Trevor on a project called Seeds last year, which also premiered at TIFF, and he was quite funny in that. And so when I saw him at TIFF last year, I said, I have a role for you. But he auditioned just like everyone else. But he was the top, and everyone thought he was the best, and he was the best. And he's quite funny, and he does lend a bit of comic relief in the film for sure, which I think is needed.
Do you have a preference? You were just saying you work in television, you work in film. Do you have a preference to which medium you work in?
I like them both for different reasons. What's nice about television is the speed that everything runs at. I'll be in a writing room in January, writing scripts by the spring, shooting by the summer, the episodes on TV by usually the end of the year. So it moves faster. Whereas a feature, it's a marathon. You really got to hold it longer. You got to carry it longer. You got to carry about it longer. And it's not to say that I don't like that. I actually love film, but it really is more of the filmmaker, the director, ushering that vision for a longer period of time. So what's nice about being able to work in both is that I can kind of get the satisfaction of something happening more fast while I'm letting something stew and taking the time that it needs to develop. Because also feature films, I think, do need that kind of time.
So from my understanding, Nika and Madison was inspired by your award-winning 2023 short film, Red Lights. saw that film at TIFF, loved it. It was inspired by your short film, Red Lights. So the question is, the original spark that started this all, what inspired Red Lights that then led to Nika and Madison? What's that original spark? What's that original inspiration that has gotten us to this point?
Absolutely. Great question. Well, I will say that Nika Madison was always a short to features project. It was always designed that I would make a short film, then it would do well, hopefully, and that would allow me to make the feature. And that was because at the time when I came up with the idea, I hadn't directed anything. And I was like, no one's going to give me millions of dollars to make a feature without having proven myself as a director. So it was a long-term strategic plan to make a short film. I didn't know that it would premiere at TIFF, but I'm glad that it did. To make a short film, that it would run the film festival circuit, that it would build my name and my track record as a director, that it would show that I could direct, show that I could work with actors, show that I could tell a story, and that would prove to the funders and the powers that be that they could take a risk on me for the feature. So that was always the plan. It was always the strategic long-term plan. But what the initial spark for the idea was, I was truly deeply inspired by the classic film Thelma and Louise. And I remember watching this film as a kid and watching it and thinking, I don't understand why they don't go to the cops. They should just go to the cops and tell them what happened and they'll be fine. I just didn't understand all the nuance of that story. I didn't understand the Texas of it all like I do now. But as an adult, I watched it again and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, layers. There are layers here. This is complicated. There's society factors, social factors going on, a little misogyny happening. I understood that in a way that my little brain couldn't comprehend. And so I said to myself after watching the film as an adult, wow, if these two women, these two white women couldn't go to the police, what if it was two indigenous women and they really couldn't go to the police? And that was the spark of the idea, which led me to the short to features strategy, and led me to making the short film and then the expansion into the feature.
Was it challenging for you to make this feature-length film?
I think every film is challenging.
But especially coming from, you had said, like, not necessarily directing something of this nature, and getting the funding, getting the backers. Was there any sort of, hurdles that you had to overcome and push back?
Great question. It was challenging to make the short, mostly because I wasn't sure what I was doing. I was like hoping and praying that I was going to be okay. And I struggled through it and made it through it. And I made a film that I'm really proud of. But making the feature, by the time I made the feature, I had already co-directed Aberdeen. I had directed, I think, 5 episodes of Still Standing. I think by that time I had won the CSA. So my confidence as a director in those 2 years between the short and the feature grew substantially because of the experiences that I had. By the time I also directed the feature, I had also directed an episode of television on Acting Good. So the experiences that I had built my confidence, which made the feature easier. But I raised the money for the short film on my own. I got some money from the Ontario Arts Council, so I put together a little grant, and they gave me $15,000. And then I went to the Indigenous Screen Office, and then they gave me some money. And then I went to Canada Council, and they gave me some money. And I had cobbled together a good chunk of change to make the short film, and then partnered with some experienced producers, and that was key. That was key, to partner with some experienced producers who could help me make the short. And those producers stayed with me, and we went on to make the feature together. So I think when I made the short, it was like, oh, let's give this, she got a good idea. Let's give her a chance. It's nothing to give her, a couple $1,000. Let's see what she can do. But when you're making the feature, you're not talking thousands. Now you're talking millions. And I don't think that I would have been able to make the feature without all those stepping stones before. The short film, the directing another feature, the directing for TV, the directing, the short, which the short film played at over 30 film festivals. And again, that track record. So those things helped me. So by the time I went to get the funding for the feature, also with my experienced producer team, that I think that it was they felt more comfortable investing in me than if I would have just came to them with a script and be like, I have this great feature film script. No, I haven't directed at all. But trust me, it's going to be great. I think that would have been a tougher sell. Because directing is hard. It's not easy. It's a hard thing. And it's a multiple faceted skill set that you have to know and a lot of things that you have to be aware of. So I can understand why people might be hesitant to give millions of dollars to someone who had done it before. And I knew that, which is why I set on a long, multi-year strategic journey to be here.
You are an award-winning filmmaker. How did you get into filmmaking originally? How did this all start for you? Coming from like doing television, now doing feature-length films. How did this all start for you?
Oh, I started as an actress. I wanted to be an actress. I wanted to work in film and television. I went off to New York City to train as an actress. And I went off to London, England to get some classical training. Moved to LA because I wanted to be in the movies. And just was really frustrated with the kind of roles that I was able to get. This was a handful of years ago, mind you. But I worked every October for all of the Thanksgiving stuff in the States. So multiple Thanksgiving commercials, worked on many soap operas and as during our Thanksgiving episode. But everything that I went on was sort of like this, we called them the leather and the feather gigs. They wanted to put us in leather, put feathers in our hair, and put us on a horse. And I just was like, can I get a job in this decade portraying a character in this decade? And I thought to myself at the time, wow, this really isn't going to change until someone starts writing something different. And I was like, okay, well, I better learn to do that. So to say, I begrudgingly became a writer. At the same time, when I was kicking around down in Los Angeles, I could tell that something really interesting was happening in Canada, that there was this growing, emerging Indigenous film and television community, and that there were funding systems and supports that were happening in Canada. And I thought to myself, I should go home and be a part of that. So I came back from LA and started my career in Canada. And I'm really glad that I did that because it really did change the trajectory of my career. So
why did you feel like you had to leave Canada to become an actress in America?
I didn't feel that way. Actually, I have a dual citizenship. So I was in the States. My mother's family's from the States. My father's family's from Canada. So I grew up on both sides of that border my whole life. In fact, I'm not sure I even like really acknowledged that border in a lot of ways. I was going to school down in the States, down in Arizona, because that's where my mother's people are from. And just seemed sort of natural that I would go to New York because that's, I think as a little girl, I had this like image of New York. And because I wanted to be classically trained, I wanted to go to London. So I didn't feel like, oh, I have to leave Canada. That wasn't part of the thought process. It's just sort of like, having this dual existence across the border, just felt like I just naturally took the opportunities that were presented to me or that I chased down.
You moved from the city house to the country house.
That's
and
right.
Vice versa.
That's why I always say like I can really relate to both Nika and Madison because in some ways I am a little bit of Nika and I am a bit of Madison.
I often ask this next question with LGBT filmmakers, with queer filmmakers, and do they think that they're making their art, in this case their films, through a queer lens? And for yourself, do you think that you're creating your art, your films now, whatever the medium, if it's television or if it's in the cinema, through an Indigenous lens? Do you think that this is something that you're doing, whether you're conscious of it or not, because it's your lived experience, and that might seep in somehow, shape, or form?
Absolutely, without a doubt. I am female and I am Indigenous. So without a doubt, that's going to be part of the work that I create. As an Indigenous creative, because we just didn't see very many images of ourselves on film and television growing up, I do feel this
responsibility. Or you only saw one thing, like you said, the leather and the feather.
Yes, absolutely. So I do feel this responsibility to tell stories. And through the process, I'm gaining a skill set which is transferable to any kind of stories. So I think as my career progresses and I get more opportunities, I will always have this connection or obligation to my community to tell in stories from the Indigenous lens, without a doubt. But I also think as an artist, I'm interested in stories that might speak to a broader audience. And how am I gaining skill set? How am I growing as a director? How am I challenging myself as a director? These are things that I'm interested long term.
Well said, well said. Eva Thomas, here's my last question for you, and it's simply this. What do you hope audiences come away with after they've seen this very entertaining Canadian feature, Nika and Madison? What do you hope your audiences come away with?
I always, say that I like to think of that movies can be machines of empathy, that it can give you an insight into a character or into their lives so that you can sort of come to understand who they are and how they got there. So certainly I do hope that there's a bit of understanding that happens, but ultimately what I'm hoping is that when the audience watches this film, that they come to care about these Indigenous women, that they root for them, they cheer for them, but when that final frame hits and those credits are rolling, I hope that they feel uplifted.
Well said, uplifted, love it, love it. Eva Thomas, thanks for your time. Well said. Well done, well filmed, well made. Thanks for your time. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Chimigwech, for the time, for the thoughtful questions that you asked, and for this chance to talk about my work. I'm very grateful.
So, what is up for this weekend?
Just heading back to the res.
Oh, cool.
Sometimes I forget you're even native.
Heard Madison was coming home this weekend.
Oh, yeah?
You guys are good though, right?
We're fine. She's family.
Hey, Goose. A bunch of us are going to the Duffy. You want to come?
No.
Cheers!
Well, well, well. Madison Sands, you're still a slut.
Am I under arrest?
No, I am driving you home. Let's go. You're beautiful. You know that?
Until we understand what we're up against, I want to be the one controlling the narrative.
What do you think's gonna happen?
I have no idea.
PC Boyd sustained a severe head injury.
You didn't deserve this.
I'm very sorry for what happened to you, to both of you. It was self-defense. Who's gonna believe that?
Nika! Where are you going?
The bush.
Well, then I'm coming with you.
Check it out, I got your favorite, a sushi.
What's the rodent situation?
Chief, we are just here to do an investigation.
We have a cop in the hospital, and we need cooperation or things are gonna get ugly.
Things are already ugly.
Police, open up!
We used to be best friends, remember?
I'm looking at attempted murder.
Attempted murder.
They put a cop into a coma. What do you think's happening here? We gotta find those girls and bring them in as soon as possible.
No matter what happens, you are my sister. I love you. I love you too.
I've just realised what TIFF actually stands for. Toronto is f***ing fantastic.